Good, might as well say night, but I'm gonna say evening. Good evening, my Facebook and YouTube family and friends. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening for chapter 4 and day 4 of our 13-day healing workshop based off of my latest release, Broken Rib, Created to Heal. And if you haven't gotten your copy, you want to make sure you get your copy of Broken Rib, Created to Heal. You will not be disappointed. We do not go over the book every chapter, the whole chapter. However, this workshop is based off of this book, which will, this workshop will assist you in going through the book. We do the reflection questions as well as the poem that's at the end of every chapter of this book. I truly believe that if you purchase Broken Rib, Created to Heal, and you are really ready to go on your healing journey, that you will not complete this book without being healed, whole, and free. The link to be able to purchase your copy of Broken Rib, Created to Heal will be in the comments. If you're on Facebook, it'll be in the description if you're tuning in from YouTube. If you haven't already, please take out the time to like and share, or give us some hearts, this video, as well as follow our page on Facebook and subscribe if you're watching from our YouTube channel. Now we're going to go ahead and get into our chapter 4, Surviving Isn't Living. Survival, as many of us know, we consider it or have called it being strong. When really survival is just learning to build walls. You begin to embrace those walls and then you become numb. But healing breaks the walls and living opens doors. When the body senses danger, in injury, it goes into an automatic emergency, shutdown. I want to say shutdown, but you don't fully shut down. Your body just kicks into a fight or flight response mode. It suppresses the pain and numbing comes, and then it conserves the energy and hypervigilance comes. In the same way our body has the same way that our body has that automatic emergency system, which we know as fight or flight, so does our soul, which is our mind, our mind, our will, and our emotions. It learns to survive trauma, rejection, heartbreak, loss, whatever we go through that's outside of the norm, that the body senses as if it needs to protect itself. But over time, we'll find ourselves conforming to a way of living that looks like strength. We wake up every day, going through the motions, just doing what needs to be done, and yet being a ghost in our own life. When your soul is in survival mode, I'm sorry, you guys. When your soul is in survival mode, though, you've been strong for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to rest. You spend years being the one who holds everyone else together while you're in pieces. You're afraid to stop moving because stillness might awaken pain that you've worked hard to avoid. So staying in survival mode too long becomes dangerous. The body becomes exhausted and it starts to break down under the constant stress. You appear older. You tend to develop health issues even. The soul becomes basically spiritually dehydrated, is numb, is hopeless. You become disconnected from your purpose and you start existing instead of living. You weren't designed to just exist. You weren't designed to just exist. You were created to live free, whole, and restored for a purpose. Sorry, you guys. I didn't keep calling. Hope you guys can still hear me good. But so tonight we're going to talk about something many of us don't realize that we're stuck in, and that is survival mode. The truth is, survival mode may have helped you. It may have helped you at one point to be able to get through. The things that should have broken you, things that should have caused you to lose your mind, the things that should have caused you to maybe even take your life. But what helped you survive and get through at one point is not meant to become how you live. Survival mode is when your life is driven by coping instead of living. You're always in a handle it mode. You're never in a enjoy it mode. You start expecting things to go wrong even when they're going right. You're trying to prepare yourself for when it goes wrong, so you're not able to enjoy when it's going right. You find yourself struggling to rest, and you stay busy to avoid feeling, or you're strong for everybody but tired really deep within yourself. Survival says just get through the day, but living says just enjoy the day. So the dangers that come with staying in survival mode too long is your body will get tired of the constant stress, the tension, and you'll begin to have burnouts. Your mind stays on edge. You can't relax because you're always anticipating something. You're paranoid, always waiting for the worst. Your emotions become numb and you stop feeling deeply. Your spirit feels dry and you become disconnected from joy and peace and purpose. You can be functioning and still be empty. And that's what survival mode is. You're functioning, but you're empty. You're not able to enjoy the life that God has for you. You're not living an abundant life. John 10:10 says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Abundant life is not survival. Abundant life means peace. It means joy. It means fulfillment. Not perfection, but fulfillment. So if your soul is exhausted, that's not God's design. God did not design us to be here just surviving. Saying I'm good when you're really not. Avoiding rest because you don't know how to slow down. Feeling uncomfortable when things around you are peaceful because you done got so used to chaos. Pushing through it instead of processing. Being there for everyone else but neglecting yourself. That's how survival mode shows up in your everyday life. Some of us don't know who we are outside of what we've had to endure or what we're having to be for someone else. But on tonight, I'm hoping that you will allow chapter 4 to help you with shifting from surviving to living. Sorry. One of the ways that you can do that is by giving yourself permission to live. This sounds simple, but it's real. Some of us don't feel allowed to live fully. You may feel like you have to always be strong, or you don't deserve peace. You don't deserve ease and simplicity. Or you feel like something bad will happen if you relax and just enjoy life. And it sounds crazy, y'all, but it really be like that for some of us. And I say for some of us because for so many years, that is exactly who I was. I had been living in survival mode since I was 9. When I started my healing process, of course, I went back to the root of where everything came from, where it started, how it started. And I literally had been living in survival mode from the age of 9 to the age of 38. When I turned 38, I learned how to start processing that stuff and start living. We have to also slow down and become aware so that you can feel and process what you're going through. Survival is fast. Survival mode is fast. But healing is intentional. But it's not until you choose to slow down and become aware that you'll be able to intentionally start your healing process. It wasn't until the Lord moved me and I was obedient to move to Arkansas, which is slower paced and everything is slowed down compared to Dallas, Texas. And we know that. Even though the environment was slowed down, I had to learn to still my mind, still my spirit, become aware of who I was, what I felt, what I didn't feel, what I liked, what I didn't like. We have to be intentional about taking those moments of stillness. We have to check in with ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? How does that really make me feel? And stop running from silence. Stop running from turning everything off, including your mind, and sitting with yourself, just you and God. Another way that we can shift from survival to living is to break the mindset of I have to always be strong. Because strength is not pretending that you're okay. Real strength is allowing yourself to be healed, asking for help, setting boundaries, saying no without feeling guilty. That's real strength. But we have been made to think that surviving is strength. People think surviving is strength. They see you just going, always showing up, always being available, always getting it done. And so they call that strength and tell you you're strong. When all along you're torn, you're broken down inside. Another way for us to shift, you guys, is by reconnecting to purpose, to our purpose. When you're in survival mode, everything is about just making it through, just getting through, just getting by, making enough to live, doing enough to just get through the day. But when you begin living, you start asking, what am I here for? What brings me peace? What makes me feel alive? What has God placed in me that's been buried under this survival mode? You were not created to just exist. You were created to live free, whole, and restored with purpose. Survival was a season, but it's not your identity. Prophetically say with me, I am no longer just surviving. I give myself permission to live fully. My life will reflect peace and not pressure. I release the need to stay in survival mode. I receive the abundant life that God has for me. Tonight is about awareness. Recognizing where you've been surviving instead of living. And not judging yourself for doing that. Because survival helped you, yes. But deciding that it won't keep you is what you have to choose to do. You deserve more than just making it through the day. You deserve to experience life peacefully, fully, and intentionally. As we move into our reflection questions, I want you to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, where have I been surviving? Think about that. What would living actually look like for me? Ask yourself those questions. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself grace. It's okay. If you don't already have your book, I'm going to be sharing those questions. And of course, this is a live, so you probably won't have time to write them down. But after this live is posted, you can go back so you can pause and slow it down and have time to write and actually reflect over these things, because healing is not a race. It's a return. It's a return to who God created you to. So you're not just learning how to feel again, you're learning how to be safe while you're feeling. So you have to first be aware. So the reflection questions, if you're writing, you're going to put awareness. Recognizing your survival patterns. And with doing that, you're going to ask yourself, what is my definition of living? And with these next questions, pay attention to your body, your reactions, and your silence. Ask yourself, when did I start feeling disconnected? Where have I mistaken control for peace? When did I last feel deep joy? When did I last feel deep sadness? And when did I last feel deep peace? What am I avoiding? What have I convinced myself I don't need? Who am I when I'm not being who others need me to be? What scares me about slowing down? As you are spending time with yourself and reflecting over those questions, surrender all of you to God. Everything, every thought, every way that you've protected yourself or put up walls, just surrender it all to God, because He wants more for you. He wants to awaken what life has shut down inside of you. Bring your pain and your fear to Him in prayer during that reflective time. And your prayer does not have to be a long, drawn out, super religious, traditional prayer. Talk to God about what you really feel and what you really need, what you really want. But praying is not just us talking, it's also us listening. So allow him to speak to your spirit during this time. Find trusted people in environments that allow you to rest and heal. Replace lies with truth and use scriptures to create daily affirmations so that you can replace those negative thoughts, those negative things and words that you're saying it or have spoken over yourself with truth. Healing is a process. Like a rib forming a new bone, you are forming a new mindset. So be patient and give yourself grace. Now I'm going to read the poem that's at the end of chapter 4. And as I'm sharing this poem, let it minister to the parts of you that have been tired, silent, and just trying to make it. The title of this poem is From Surviving to Living. I didn't live, I lasted. I didn't speak, I maxed it. The smile was armor, not the light, just enough to make it through the night. But God is not fooled by perfection's show. He sees the storms that no one knows. He sat with me when no one stayed and whispered strength as I slowly frayed. I now release what numbed my soul to feel again, to be made whole. I won't just make it anymore. I was born to rise, to sing, to soar. That is the end of that poem. And once again, if you have not ordered your signed copy of Broken Rib, Created to Heal, if you're tuning in from Facebook, I will put the link in the comments. If you are tuning in from YouTube, I will be sure to put the link in the description. You can get your signed copy at bridgetdrury.square.site. Tomorrow will be day 5 of our 13-day healing workshop. I hope that you guys can join me at 8 p.m. to continue your healing journey with us. You guys be healed, whole, and free. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be blessed.